After Prime Minister Modi has hit out at the Congress party during his speech at Parliament, a political storm has erupted. In a veiled dig at the Congress, the PM had pointed at itself and stated they ask who's OBC. After this, Rahul Gandhi vowed to remove the 50% quota cap if India bloc is voted to power in the 2024 general elections. Apart from this, Rahul has also hit back, stating, and I quote, PM calls himself OBC. In between, he got confused and then started saying that there are only two castes in the country, rich and poor. So he should decide first, quote unquote. Joining us at this point is a special panel. But before that, let's quickly listen into some sound bites coming in amidst this pitch by the Congress for unlimited quota. A war of words has erupted.
आजकल 50% से ज्यादा रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिल सकती। ये जो 50% का लिमिट है, इसको कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार, इंडिया की सरकार उठा के फेंक देगी। जो दलित हैं, आदिवासी भाई हैं, उनके रिजर्वेशन में कोई कमी नहीं आएगी। मैं आपको गारंटी देके कह रहा हूं, और जो पिछड़ों का हक बनता है वो उनको मिलेगा।
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने, यूपीए सरकार ने ओबीसी समुदाय के साथ भी कोई न्याय नहीं किया, अन्याय किया। जी, इन लोगों ने ओबीसी नेताओं का अपमान करने में कोई कोर कसर नहीं छोड़ी है।
प्रधानमंत्री आपको अपने आप को ओबीसी कहते हैं, फिर बीच में थोड़े कंफ्यूजन में आ गए थे। पहले कहते थे मैं ओबीसी हूं, बीच में कहने लगे कि हिंदुस्तान में सिर्फ दो जात है, एक अमीर और एक गरीब। तो उनको पहले तो ये डिसाइड करना है कि जात हिंदुस्तान में है या नहीं है। और दूसरी बात, चाहे वो ओबीसी हैं या ना हैं, हिंदुस्तान के 50% लोग, तकरीबन 50% लोग ओबीसी वर्ग।
Shivam Shukla, BJP spokesperson, joins us live. We also have Raj Lakshmi Joshi, political analyst, joining us on the broadcast. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, is also live with us. Nikhil Jain, political analyst, also joins us live. Let me begin with you first, Gautam Mukherjee. Are we likely to see a big debate over caste and reservation in the run-up to the Lok Sabha elections?
I think Congress is trying to provoke it, but the time available is very limited. And when you say that there's no limit there's no 50% limit, it's unbounded, it confuses most people. Who's going to retain what section of, because there's a lot of people involved, a lot of subcastes, a lot of divisions within this. Are they going to lose some of what they're talking about, what they've already got, in favor of others? You are trying to take a census. You can't do that like making a cup of coffee. It's going to take some time. And the time is simply not available up to the 24 elections. Eventually, if it is done, what is the impact of something like that? I think the Prime Minister is quite rich. There are quite right in saying that there are just two castes, rich and poor, and the rest is a confusion of political gamesmanship that, after 75 years of independence, there is a case that reservations will slowly have to go rather than increase, because the economy is capable, when it's heading towards 5 trillion, is already at 4.2 trillion if you count the entire economy, to take care of all sections and indeed lift most of the abject poor completely out of poverty. Every year you hear about how many more millions have been lifted out of abject poverty. The time is coming when nobody is going to be in that below the poverty line kind of situation. Now, in all of this, when you didn't have, this is a very socialistic concept, reservations, affirmative action, to, Gandhian business of lifting up Dalits and untouchables and so on. It's over. India is on its way to becoming a developed country. In the next 7 years, it goes into the third largest economy in the world. Now, if that is the case, we can address all sections. We can address all our needs. We can address new needs as they come up. So this caste business is nonsense. And as usual, Congress is way behind the curve and confused as they come. Uday.
All right. Let me, in fact, take that across to Shivam Shukla as well. Shivam Shukla, now the Congress says that it's the PM who is confused, not their party. They say that, sometimes he says that there are only 2 castes in the country. Sometimes he says that there are 4 castes in the country. Sometimes he calls himself an OBC leader. Rahul Gandhi says the PM is confused and not the Congress. This is what the Congress party in the Lok Sabha said as well yesterday.
So the first and foremost thing is, if anybody is confused in this country, he is the Rahul Gandhi. We have seen how categorically Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party has been changing their stand time to time. We have seen when they were in power as a UPA government, they were highly against the caste census. They have even done that thing, but still not released the data of it in front of the masses of this country. And now when they are into the opposition, they are an advanced advocate of this thing. This shows how hypocrisy the Congress party is having within its cadre, within its party, and within their ideology. The first and foremost thing that the Prime Minister has said time and again categorically, that the Bharatiya Janata Party or the government of India that he is leading does not believe in any sort of caste divisions. And what is the function of the government? That is seeing the whole society into 2 aspects. One is of the rich and other is of the poor. So it is role of the government for the advancement of the poor people who are not having the necessity, and the government is trying their part best to ensure that everybody is getting what is required to take them up in terms of the poverty line. And we have seen, we have achieved this thing within the last 9 years of our government. We have some 18 crore people all over India who have came out of the poverty line. We have been delivering the Ujjwala Yojana, through which we have ensured that every poor household in this country is receiving some sort of gas cylinder. We have ensured that every poor household in this country is having a house for itself. We have ensured they are having a shauchalaya for themselves. We are ensuring that the poor masses are having the tap water at their doorstep, and these all are the principal things that no matter what, which caste, which community, which religion a person is belonging, these are the necessities of a poor individual, and our government is able to ensure all of these basic necessities. And whereas Congress party is concerned, they have not done anything significant when they were in power for the last 70 years. And even for the reservation purposes, we have seen they have been a staunch opponent of that Mandal Commission report. Rajiv Gandhi himself in Parliament has somewhere we have seen that he has said against too many things against this particular Mandal Commission thing. So now Congress party is having a shift from their traditional viewpoint on this particular issue, and that is the reason the people of this country or the masses of the country are not able to believe either the Rahul Gandhi or the Congress party, because in this country we have seen any party or any organization that has done historical injustice with the masses, or when we talk about masses, basically the OBC community, it has been the Congress party who kept report of the Mandal Commission under the carpet for some 2 decades, and when it came out, still they were opposing it. And when we talk about within the cadre of the Congress party is still not having a kind of balance of various sections of the society, whereas Bharatiya Janata Party in its government, we have ensured that the caste, that what is the belief of a caste or what is the asmita of a caste, that is being accommodated within the governance, within the government and within the party structure. And that's the reason now majority of the castes that are prevalent in this country are having their firm support with the Bharatiya Janata Party, and they are not in a condition to believe on any other political organization. We have seen the castes that have been voting for some other political parties because of whatsoever reason. We are still expanding our bases among them, and they are now having a confidence on Bharatiya Janata Party. And we will see in the election of 2024, the Bharatiya Janata Party will be getting majority of the votes of all the sections of the country, and in which most of the votes will be coming from the OBC communities, for whom Bharatiya Janata Party has been ensuring so many things. And this is a thing that Bharatiya Janata Party has achieved in the last 9 years or 10 years when it has been into the power. Even when we was in power last time under the leadership of Vajpayee ji, we were still doing lots of things like in education and everywhere to ensure a social justice. And social justice cannot be achieved by dividing the society on the caste lines. It can be only achieved by the economic upliftment of the different sections of the society, and Bharatiya Janata Party has been focusing categorically on it and achieving the different milestones that has been acknowledged by various global institutions. And they are still studying how the impact of policies and the programs of the Bharatiya Janata Party has been over the masses of this country. Yeah, there.
Okay, I'll take that to Radhakshmi Joshi as well. Radhakshmi Joshi, of course, Shivam of the BJP there completely countering Rahul Gandhi and the Congress. But, interestingly, this is obviously a, debate that we are going to see more of perhaps in the weeks ahead as well. From certain states, of course, advocating for a caste survey to now, of course, Rahul saying he's going to raise the 50% cap on reservations, to also the Congress questioning the BJP on their double speak on caste. Radhakshmi.
Good evening, Uday. Yes, yesterday, PM Modi, he spoke about Vision 2047. And unfortunately, this caste census that Rahul Gandhi is talking about is something that is of the times of 1947. So here we are talking about 1 century apart. So, this I think it's a very sad thing where, PM Modi is talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is something that he always keeps talking about, where he talks about the entire universe as one family. And obviously, he talks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Even yesterday, he clearly mentioned about how there are, you could, if it comes to it, he says you should talk about 4 castes. That is, he talks about women, he talks about youth, and he talks about the Kisan. And, so this, I think, is something that it includes everybody. And it includes even the minorities, it includes all the castes, I would say. So I think that is an all-inclusive kind of a plan. Now, talking about the confusion bit, let me just quote something that, one very senior person had said in Parliament on very specifically on 22nd of December 2023 with regard to this thing about caste. He said it is disappointing to note that caste is brought into a serious debate on an important subject. It's also disappointing that the place of birth of an individual is used as an argument to criticize the individual. I cannot recall if any about the caste of Mahatma Gandhi or Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel or the place of birth of C.F. Andrews or Annie Besant. Can we move beyond these narrow identities and embrace the norms and values of humanity in the 21st century? Asks the great P. Chidambaram, who is a very senior leader of the Congress. And this he spoke when there was this incident of Jagdeep Dhankarji, our honorable vice president, when he was insulted and when his caste was being spoken about, when they mentioned his caste as a judge. At that time, Mr. Chidambaram had spoken about this. And just look at it. Now, today again, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he talks about how, why should PM Modi mention his caste? This caste is something that they keep bringing up all the time. So then obviously, PM Modi will remind them that, hello, I am also from the OBC. So what are you talking about? So it isn't that he is saying that he is going to make some schemes and policies on the basis of caste. When you make some policies that will benefit everybody, it will benefit everybody, period. So it is not going to differentiate, and it's not going to ask. When he's talking about PM Awas Yojana, he's not differentiating. He's not talking about Ujjwala Yojana only for one particular caste. So, that question actually should completely go away. So, I'm seriously surprised as to how the senior leaders of the Congress can talk in one language, and then Rahul Gandhi talks something else. And in fact, the entire strategy of the Congress seems to be all over the place. They don't know what to do with this thing called as the caste census. In Karnataka, they did have something of a caste survey, and they called it a caste census, and they didn't even come out with it because Mr. Siddaramaiah doesn't know what to do with that caste census or survey or whatever they want to call it. I think that, the right way to go about it would be that, at least on the basis of, say, maybe an economically weaker section, maybe you could give you can make sure that people are given some benefits and they are allowed, they are that they are made facilitated to be able to study and to get some decent opportunities for work, etc., etc. All of that is something that can actually uplift an entire society. This thing about differentiating and just dividing into castes. Now look at what happened in Jharkhand yesterday during the floor test. Mr. Hemant Soren actually stands up and says that he is being questioned by the ED only because he is of a particular caste, he is from a tribe, and that the people from the upper caste don't want to see a tribal sitting in cars and traveling in flights, and that is why they want to put him behind bars. I mean, this is a kind of a division, this is a kind of a negative thought, this seed that they want to put into people's heads instead of actually trying to bring everyone together, instead of taking them towards development. This is the kind of a language that the India Alliance people are talking. Instead of actually talking progress, they're taking it entirely backward, Uday, and that is something that I see of a very negative trend. And that is why the PM said yesterday that they seem to be hell bent on staying where they are. And I think that the people have understood that the progress seems to come only with whatever the PM is talking about. See, he's talking about taking it to a 5 trillion economy. He's talking about 8 trillion economy. He's talking about India as a superpower. He's talking about Bharat as a Vishwa Guru. All those things, they're sadly lacking with the India Alliance. So, and especially with the Congress, they don't seem to have any other agenda, and that is why they keep bringing up all these things about either Adani or caste.
Nikhil Jain, come in here. Nikhil Jain, come in here. I'd like your response to what you've heard already. I think you missed what some of the panelists have said, but predominantly they are saying that there's a Congress who's confused about caste, and why is the Congress bringing in the caste question into an election which should be fought on development. And of course you heard the other points that Radlakshmi has raised, your response. And this of course after what Rahul Gandhi has said on the 50% cap being raised, and PM his speech of course yesterday in the Lok Sabha.
So the thing is that if there is any party that is following two different lines and two different lines of thought on this, on the topic of OBC reservations, it is the BJP. On one hand, you have the BJP in Bihar voting in favor of the caste census, and on the other hand, you have the BJP national wing essentially going around saying that we are not, we don't support caste-based reservations. I was personally on a debate myself with a BJP national spokesperson when he very candidly admitted that we are in favor of the caste census. Now, the point is, half of the BJP will say one thing, the other half would say another thing. And then it is the same Prime Minister who is now giving in his parliamentary speeches that there are only 4 castes, women, poor, and this and that. Then why does he feel the need to time and again tell the people of the country that I am from an OBC community? Why does he say that I have 27 OBC ministers in my council? The fact of the matter is that the BJP does not want to take up the issue of caste survey or caste-based reservations or caste-based representation on the forefront, but they do want to, gain from it in the background. We've also seen how chief ministers and deputy chief ministers were made by the BJP in the recent state elections that it had won. There was obviously a caste-based balance that happened. So the Prime Minister is speaking one thing and doing another thing. Then Raj Lakshmi also pointed out that, Rahul Gandhi is talking about caste. They want to create fissures in the society on the basis of this and that. When you talk about uplifting people from a marginalized section of the society, giving them their rightful representation, giving them the rightful avenues and equal opportunities as the rest of us, that is not creating fissures. That is just looking out for your fellow citizen. On the other hand, when she says that Prime Minister Modi is talking about a $5 trillion economy and $8 trillion economy, the problem is the Prime Minister only talks about these things. India's growth rate has declined in this government compared to the UPA government. It is the government under which India became pretty much the only developing country in the world to ever face a recession in the past 2 decades. This is a country where unemployment levels have now risen to the highest levels in the past few decades. So the Prime Minister can go and talk about those things. She talks about the Prime Minister talking about India being a superpower. This Prime Minister has left us in a place where we don't have good relations with Nepal, where our relations with Bhutan are coming into question, where our land has been encroached in Ladakh, and where we've had to recently withdraw our forces from Maldives, where we earlier had our forces on their land. So let's not talk about becoming a superpower when you're barely able to hold on to the regional power that the previous governments had made this country into. So the Prime Minister is all talk and no show, while Rahul Gandhi is still sticking to the point that he's making. And so far as the point that she raises about the JMM Chief Minister Hemant Soren raising that these people have a problem with the tribals being in a top seat, why not? Why should you not be able to say that? This government certainly has given the country a tribal president, but does that president exercise any power? We recently saw that in her address to the parliament in the budget session. It was entirely a political speech. It did not look like it was coming from a president of India. It looked like it was coming from a BJP leader speaking at some rally. So far as real power comes, the BJP has not given that to any Dalit, any tribal, Dalits maybe, but I have not seen the BJP devolving real power to anybody. In fact, the power entirely rests with the duo. However, when there is a person who has actual power, the Chief Minister, Hemant Soren, he is arrested by the ED. I understand the ED opening an investigation against him. Why does the ED need to have a sitting Chief Minister in police custody? Do they think that he's going to run away? Do they think that he's going to influence the investigation? And if he's indeed going to influence the investigation, what do you think? That putting a chief minister in jail, whose party is still the ruling party in the state, they can't influence the investigation if they want to? The fact is, this is just political persecution of a man who happens to be a tribal, and obviously he is going to look at it that way. People at the ground level in Jharkhand are enraged by this. The tribal sentiments have been hurt. And lastly, the BJP is the last party which should be talking about all of this, because their leader Jagdeep Dhankar, when he was mimicked by a certain member of parliament for the manner that he spoke, for the manner that he carries himself, he made it an entire issue about Jato ka apaman hua hai. Nothing was said about the Jat community or about the traits or characters of the Jat community. Only of that individual were targeted. But then Jagdeep Dhankar made it an issue about the Jat community, and the BJP gave full fire to it. So let's not pretend that the BJP, BJP saying that Hemant Soren raising the issue of him being a tribal is wrong. The BJP does that time and again, and much more than any other opposition leader does.
All right, let me get Shivam Shukla's response to you. Shivam, I allowed Nikhil, his time because, of course, he's heard what you all have had to say. Nikhil, Shivam, your counter.
Look, when he was saying that the President of India was speaking like a mouthpiece of Bharatiya Janata Party, I would like to say that the panelists that were being joined by us, he was speaking like a Congress spokesperson. The Congress party, who has been into the power for the 70 years at least, they have not even thought of how they can end the caste-based discrimination. They have not even thought of how to make people more economically viable in terms of when it comes to the caste, and now they are advocating the caste-based reservation, caste-based census, as if this is going to solve all the problems that this country is having. And apart from this, when he was talking about the developmental growth, India is now somewhere nearing 8 to 9% developmental growth per year in the Modi era, and also with it, India has evolved as the third largest economy in the global world. And with this, we have to see that India has witnessed a period like COVID, when most of the developed economies of the world has also suffered heavily. But India still has survived and managed to keep a steady pace of economical growth. So these sort of allegations, these sort of different sort of rumors and everything are not going to malign the image of Prime Minister Modi or the Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party is very confident that the upliftment of the various sections, various castes of the society, with keeping in mind the pride of that particular section, is being done by Bharatiya Janata Party, and we are doing that since our formation. We have been always giving all the caste, all the sections of society a prominent place in our government and as well as a party structure. And this is up to the Congress party and the ecosystem that is supporting the Congress party on such issues. The Congress party is clearly having an agenda against the OBC communities. They are not able to digest the thing that a tribal woman is the president of India, a person from OBC community, the Prime Minister of India, a person from OBC and that to a Jat community is heading the country as vice president, and various ministers are of the OBC community in the Bharatiya Janata Party government. When Congress and Rahul Gandhi talk about that, how many number of OBC secretaries are there in the various various departments of the government of India, they forget that this is the regime that is having the most of the OBC ministers at this union level. And with this, Bharatiya Janata Party is having somewhere near to 50% OBC chief minister in all across country wherever we are into the power, and we are even offering such sort of things as a deputy chief minister as well So Bharatiya Janata Party is doing a caste justice with each and every caste. We are having a set of all social coalitions, and we are giving them a proper platform so that they can take their aspirations forward. And with this also, Bharatiya Janata Party is ensuring that no community, just because it is not significant in terms of numbers and is being left out just because it is not having a kind of electoral vote bank pocket or base. So we are keeping an eye on them as well, and we are providing them all sort of support that could be given by a government or a government machinery. And Bharatiya Janata Party has been very well ensuring all sort of such things. And now the party has been doing injustice with the various communities, be it SC/ST community or the OBC community.
Right.
And Bharatiya Janata Party is, yeah.
Okay. I'm almost out of time, so I'm going to allow Nikhil a quick 10 seconds, then I'll take a break.
Uday, I think the BJP spokesperson made my point for. Look at the points that he made. That we have X number of council ministers, ministers in the council from the OBC community. We have a tribal president and OBC.
Raj Lakshmi is also responding.
Point I'm making only point that when Rahul Gandhi and such sort of ecosystem talks about the Bharatiya Janata Party is not giving a proper platform or proper stage
Nikhil,
to the
Raj Lakshmi
of the OBC community in the government or in the various party structures.
Nikhil Jain, you can respond.
Making a statement, and it doesn't
Uday,
mean
what
that
I'm saying, Uday, what I'm saying is that the BJP spokesperson has made my point for me. He has made my point for me. That at one hand, the Prime Minister is saying there are only 4 communities in the OBC, that's women, poor, and this and that. But he's talking about Jats, he's talking about Yadavs, he's talking about Gujars. The fact is, the Prime Minister has one thing that he says to the people and another thing that he does in terms of symbolism, and that is how their election strategy is.
Nikhil, what about Mr. Chidambaram saying, can we move beyond these narrow identities and embrace the norms and values of humanity in the 21st century? You seem to have conveniently missed out that from whatever I spoke. See, Mr. Chidambaram says
Nikhil.
something else, Mr. Rahul Gandhi says something else. How can you have double standards here?
The statement of Mr. Chidambaram.
About why the OBC is not represented.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it at that. We've run completely out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.